Part 11, page 27. A lecture with an unexpected result. His lecture had an unexpected success. The overcautious ones among the Baratonians, who so far had hesitated to deposit their cash reserves with Barabino and Company, gained confidence and carried their money to the bank. They said to themselves, if Barabino and Company have made $1 million of profit in this speculation, then they are safe. Thus, the house of Barabino and Company came to own or control all the money of the country. A repentant and his successor. But Santiago Barabino died before he could convince his Baratonians of the folly of Beelzebub's currency reform. In his last will, he had arranged that the stolen money should be refunded to the cheated people. It was more than £3 million. The business was now transferred to the partner, Sanson Carrasco, who had kept well in mind the policies of Santiago while not adopting the latter's pedantic conscientiousness. Carrasco decided to strip the fools and to use the press to foment political strife. Also, to use school, church, and university to ensure that the fools should remain fools. Private and national indebtedness appears. As Sanson Carrasco paid interest to the public treasury for the reserves of money which, as we know, were deposited with the firm, the Baratonians agreed to leave him these reserves permanently, and as Sanson paid interest to depositors on time savings, all Baratonians learned to deposit without reserve all available money with the bank. Thus, the bank of Sanson Carrasco was absolutely in control of the entire money market. The only competition that still had to be considered came from the yearly harvest of the Pinus moneta. Thus, it was not astonishing that the fortune of Carrasco grew gigantically, and that soon all the people were indebted to him. They owed him money in the form of bills of exchange, in the form of communal bonds, and in the form of state bonds. All big industrial plants were mortgaged to him. Not content with this, he also wanted to bring the land into his possession and place the crown on his head. He wanted to surpass Joseph and Pharaoh. To accomplish this, he had to kill his only competitor, the Pinus moneta, the money tree. The chronicler reports how one day, at the time when the money pine was in full bloom, fire broke out on a neighboring piece of property which Carrasco had rented previously, and how the wind carried the hot air directly against the tree. Thus, no money was to be expected that year from that source, and Samson Carrasco could, at his leisure, implement the plans which he had laid out. Joseph of Egypt had demanded as ransom from the Egyptians delivery of all the land and the enslavement of all the people to Pharaoh. Carrasco was satisfied with the land and the kingship. From this time on, the statements of the chronicle are but a single Jeremiad, however instructive it is. I must limit myself to the concluding paragraphs of the chronicle. There it is said, newcomers, today, on April 28th of the year of the Lord, 1670, there appeared coming from the east some English ships, tumultuous joy. The missing length to cultural height. May 10th. The Englishmen speak very highly of our economic conditions. It is amazing to learn that everything had developed here in the same way as in England. In social conditions, there were no differences perceptible. The disintegration into classes, the proletariat, the landowners, the rentiers and capitalists was the same. Prostitution and beggars were here as numerous as in London, relatively. The political contest turned upon the same issues. Strikes and collisions of the workers with the police were as numerous as over there. But that did not excite comment. Everyone was used to it. Only one thing they found to blame in our institutions, namely our money. It was unworthy of a people of so high a culture to make use of the useless fruit of a common pine as money, of which there were in Madagascar whole forests. The English visitors strongly advised gold. Wonderful were the virtues of her bright and shiny currency. In short, we should, as soon as possible, send a representative of King Samson to London in order to make a loan which we could place at 5%. And that was all the Europeans could advise us in order to get out of our hopeless conditions, adds the chronicler. The English do not notice human misery because they are used to it, but I have passed through all these developments.